Welcome to this masterclass for Copilot for DevOps Plus. Here you will find all the resources you need to start using Copilot for DevOps Plus. For our examples, we are demonstrating within the standalone version. We have created an epic for an autonomous capability for an EV. When you invoke Copilot for DevOps Plus, you will see a variety of functions available. Elicit gives us the ability to request suggestions on work items, in this case, features. On this epic, we are going to say, give me the minimum number of features for building an autonomous vehicle with some recommendations. We are selecting all the records, so you can include them in the project. With the number of record selection, you can ask, do you want some, or do you want a lot, and it will give you an appropriate recommendation count. Under Custom Instructions, you can also choose which GPT model you want to use, the conversation style, the output length, and choose the output language. The default is English. So we are going to go ahead and create features for this epic. It's going to create all of these as work items, which are visible upon refreshing. Next, let's go down and ask it to create user stories. It's going to come up with several user stories that we can work with. We can go to Custom Instructions and ask it to use the "as a user I can so that" format. By default, the AI will do what it thinks is best. Custom instructions are helpful because you can alter the AI output with specific instructions. And now we have a series of few stories. We can read through them, we can select them, and get their description and acceptance criteria. You can select the options you want to create work items with. When you click on Generate, you now have these user stories. Let's further drill down because we would now like to elicit test cases. With a single click, the AI will create the test cases for that user story. Again, we can select them all. If you read through this, you will find that they are pretty good recommendations. Of course, you need to verify them to make sure that this is exactly what you want. But Copilot for DevOps gives you a huge jumpstart. Now, the test cases have a description and all your test steps. Let's say we accept all the suggestions. It will now create your test cases with the tested by link type. Now imagine you have written a requirement yourself or with Copilot for DevOps Plus, and you want to determine how well it is written. Go to Analyze and select the fields you want to analyze. Here, we are selecting title, acceptance criteria, and description. If you want a more thorough analysis, choose GPT-4 rather than 3.5. You will then get a more accurate representation, better analysis, and better recommendations. As you are writing requirements, Copilot for DevOps Plus can analyze your requirements, your test cases, your risk, your hazards, your FMEAs, etc., and give you feedback to make them better. You can also convert a user story to a use case or into a Gherkin format. So, we input title, acceptance criteria, and description, and ask it to transform it into Gherkin. You can add this result into a work item or create a new work item based on that. You can also paraphrase your content and elaborate on it. Let's see the pseudocode functionality. If you want to generate pseudocode, you can generate pseudocode in plain English or any other common programming languages like VBA, C#, JavaScript, etc. Let's say we want to create JavaScript pseudocode. The AI has now created your pseudocode in JavaScript. If you had a very well-defined, detailed specification for an algorithm, it would create pseudocode in R or any other programming language you prefer. In Summarize, you can provide a work item as an input. From there, you can produce a condensed summary of that work item. You can select the fields that you like to provide as your input. So the title and rich text fields will be available in this dropdown, both standard rich text fields and custom rich text fields you've added as shown. Once you've selected your input, click on Generate. This will create a condensed version of that requirement which you can copy and share if needed. or you can also add this to the description field and append to the content that's existing. With Elaborate, you can provide a work item as an input. Copilot will analyze what's provided and suggest ways for you to expand and elaborate on that requirement. Select your input fields or the field which you'd like to elaborate. Here we can select our description and then click on Generate. Based on what's given, Copilot will analyze, extrapolate, and give us suggestions on how we can expand our description. So here are the results. You can take these results, copy them, and share them elsewhere, if needed. You can also replace these results with the existing description if you deem this better. You can also append these results by clicking on App to enter the top of the description or to the bottom after what's already there. With Paraphrase, you can give a work item as an input and rewrite it to be more understandable or cohesive. Here you can select the input fields. They can be the title and your rich text fields. Whether it's standard rich text fields like the description or custom rich text fields, you can select them as part of your input. You can also select the type of paraphrase you'd like, whether in paragraphs or in bullet form. Once you've made your selections, go ahead and click on Generate. Copilot will take your input, rewrite it, paraphrase it, and give you your results. Now you can copy the results and share them if you need to. Or if you'd like to use the paraphrase passage instead, go ahead and click on Replace. This will replace the description of the input work item with the results here. The Translate functionality allows you to translate your work items from English to any language of your choice. So here we can click on the Translate tile from our selected work item. We can also select fields to provide as inputs. So this will show you all of your title and rich text fields, which includes your standard rich text fields like description. It also shows you any custom rich text fields that you've added as well. The next step is to select the language that you'd like to translate your work item into. So this could be any language. From our drop-down list, select your preferred language and then click on Generate to create a translation of your work item. On the right side, we will be able to see the translated content, including title and description. We can choose to copy the results if we'd like to share it externally. We can also choose to replace the results with our existing description and provide that translation for the work item. You can also create test scripts with Copilot for DevOps. When you want to create test scripts for automation, you can give it input from pseudocode, requirements, detail specs, and even high-level requirements. It will return test scripts. In this case, we are choosing Selenium, so it's going to create Selenium test scripts. There you are. That's your framework to start with given this user story as input. Dynamic prompts are a powerful way to simplify task management by giving tailored prompts on specific queries. Some tasks that would have taken weeks can be done in hours, depending on the size of your dataset. In this example, we have a series of customer requirements for an electronic health record management system with IoT. We want to compare those to our system, which provides those capabilities. These are our system requirements. We're going to call Copilot4DevOps Plus and compare the delta between the two. We are giving it our system capabilities and pointing to the customer requirements. We're asking it, tell me what is the delta, what is missing, and what is the coverage. The system will now go and do the comparison. We could ask it to provide much more detail than this, but you can see the power of dynamic prompts. It's simply incredible. Thank you for attending this masterclass. For more learning resources, visit the support page on our website at copilot4devops.com.